What if the manner in which a man acts in bed could disclose his innermost feelings more profoundly than words ever might? The renowned psychologist Carl Jung proposed that authentic love is not simply declared, it is unconsciously conveyed through physical closeness. How a man holds you, gazes at you, or even syncs his breathing with yours in these exposed moments can lay bare what truly resides in his heart. So how can you tell if it's something more than just physical? Jung's explorations of the unconscious mind highlight 4 distinct signs, subtle, potent actions that manifest only when a man is deeply and truly in love. Jung taught that love is not merely a feeling, it is a fusion of souls, where primal, unrefined instincts come to the forefront. When a man is emotionally connected, his body and psyche unveil truths he might not even be aware of himself. Today, we are bringing to light 4 intimate acts that, based on Jungian psychology, confirm his love goes much deeper than simple attraction. These are not merely habits, they are subconscious rituals of devotion. By the conclusion of this, you will know precisely what to look for. Number 1. Deep eye contact. Deep eye. Contact during intimacy possesses an almost magical quality, something that goes beyond simple physical attraction to touch the very essence of emotional connection. Carl Jung frequently described the eyes as the windows to the soul, and with good reason. In his study of the unconscious, Jung saw that the gaze is one of the rare involuntary conduits to a person's inner self. In contrast to words, which can be meticulously selected or even misleading, the eyes disclose truths the mind may not be prepared to admit. When a man maintains your gaze during moments of vulnerability, it signifies much more than a mere act of passion. It is a silent confession. He is not just looking at you, he is permitting himself to be seen by you, which represents one of the most profound surrenders an individual can make. This type of prolonged eye contact is uncommon because it demands an exceptional degree of emotional presence. Many men, shaped by societal pressures, learn to compartmentalize. Sex can become disconnected from emotion, a physical release instead of a unifying act. Yet, when a man is profoundly in love, a transformation occurs. The subconscious desire for genuine connection supersedes the habit of emotional distance. His gaze stays with you because, in that instance, he is not only physically exposed, but also emotionally exposed. Jung would contend that this is the anima at work, the inner feminine component of his psyche that yearns for depth, intimacy, and fusion. The eyes, in this context, serve as the link between 2 souls, not just 2 bodies. Conversely, the avoidance of eye contact can be equally revealing. A man who averts his gaze during intimacy might still harbor desire or even affection, but an emotional barrier is likely present. He may fear the vulnerability that accompanies being completely known, or he could be protecting a part of himself he is not yet willing to face. In Jungian terms, this evasion might indicate unresolved shadows, unadmitted fears, or old wounds that prevent him from fully surrendering. The eyes are incapable of lying in the way words can, so for many, avoiding them is a method of retaining control. However, when a man permits that unbroken connection, it conveys a great deal. It signifies that he trusts you not only with his body, but also with his self, the concealed, flawed, undefended version that lies beneath the surface. There is a reason lovers instinctively shut their eyes during a kiss, only to open them again afterward as if to validate the reality of the person before them. That moment of re-establishing contact is primal, a silent declaration, "You are here with me, and I am here with you, completely." This is why deep eye contact stands as the first and possibly the most telling sign of genuine emotional attachment. It is not something that can be feigned or coerced. It is a subconscious offering, an instance where two individuals exist without their masks. And in that mutual gaze, love makes its presence known, not with grand pronouncements, but with the quiet, steadfast certainty that in this space, there is no longer a need to hide. Number 2, prioritizing your pleasure over his own. In Jungian psychology, genuine intimacy necessitates the reconciliation of opposites, the convergence of two distinct selves into something larger than their individual parts. This sacred union, which Jung termed the conjunctio, is not just about physical gratification, but about the alchemy of two souls, blending in mutual surrender. Nowhere is this more apparent than in how a man approaches pleasure when he is profoundly in love. Lust pursues its own fulfillment, but love pursues communion. When a man places your satisfaction above his own, it is not simply an act of generosity. It is an unconscious enactment of devotion, a silent promise that your happiness is indivisible from his. Jung held that the shadow, the suppressed unconscious elements of our psyche, frequently controls our more basic instincts, including selfish desire. Yet, when a man loves with depth, something extraordinary occurs. His higher self takes precedence over those primal urges. He postpones his own gratification, not from a sense of duty, but because the act of giving itself becomes a reward. This represents the union of opposites in its most unadulterated form. The masculine impulse to pursue blends harmoniously with the feminine principle of receptivity. In this equilibrium, sex is elevated from a transactional event to a sacred exchange. You will observe this in how he studies your reactions, commits to memory what brings you joy, and finds authentic fulfillment in your contentment. His focus is not theatrical, it is innate, as though your body were an extension of his. Contrast this with encounters that are based only on physical desire. Lust is all-consuming. It takes what it desires with minimal consideration for the other person. Love, however, nurtures. A man caught in the spell of infatuation may concentrate on his own pleasure, but a man truly in love will find himself captivated by yours. Jung would attribute this change to the influence of the anima, the inner feminine, which steers him toward empathy, tenderness, and a yearning to connect beyond the physical. This is why the smallest actions, the way he lingers in the afterglow, the way he asks, "Was that good for you?" with genuine curiosity, disclose more about his heart than any grand gesture ever could. This selflessness carries over outside of the bedroom. Jung viewed relationships as mirrors that show us the parts of ourselves we need to either confront or heal. A man who gives generously in intimacy is frequently one who has confronted his own shadows, his anxieties about inadequacy, his desire for control, and come out willing to serve instead of to take. That vulnerability is the signature of true love. It is not about being flawless. It is about being present. When he prioritizes your pleasure, he is whispering with his body what words could never adequately express. You are sacred to me. Ultimately, this behavior is love's fingerprint, impossible to forge, effortless in its genuineness. It demonstrates that his devotion is not just surface level, it is soul deep. And that, according to Jung, is where the most meaningful transformations start. Number 3, post-sex affection and emotional openness. The moments following intimacy disclose more about a man's genuine feelings than the act itself. Carl Jung recognized that physical closeness can dissolve our defenses, temporarily silencing the ego and letting the unconscious come to the surface. When a man is deeply in love, sex is more than just a climax. It becomes a gateway to emotional transparency. This is why post-coital behavior is so revealing. The way he holds you, the words he shares, and the vulnerability he shows after the passion has cooled. These are not deliberate choices, but subconscious disclosures of how he genuinely perceives you. Jung's concept of the shadow, the concealed and often repressed aspects of our psyche, clarifies why many men find vulnerability challenging. Society trains men to equate strength with emotional control, instructing them to pull back after physical intimacy as though affection somehow lessens their masculinity. But when a man loves profoundly, this conditioning gives way. His shadow, the wounded, sensitive self he normally keeps protected, appears without his consent. He might draw you nearer rather than rolling away, recount childhood stories, or just rest his forehead on yours in silent connection. These are not calculated gestures. They are the psyche's defiance of pretense, evidence that he connects you with safety, not merely with pleasure. This post-sex vulnerability serves a vital psychological purpose. Jung believed that true intimacy demands integration, the fusion of our light and dark sides with another person. When a man stays emotionally engaged after sex, he is showing that he trusts you with his entire self, not just with his desire. The way he strokes your hair without thinking or reveals a private thought shows that his defenses have momentarily crumbled. There is no act here, no game of seduction, only the raw, unvarnished truth of his bond with you. Compare this to encounters where a man pulls away right after his climax. While not always a sign of emotional distance, this separation often indicates that his connection to you is still mainly physical. The ego swiftly reconstructs its barriers, re-establishing control where moments before there was surrender. But when a man lingers, when he cherishes the afterglow as something precious rather than an interruption, he is showing you what Jung called the transcendent function in practice, the power of love to dissolve the separation between two individuals. In the end, post-sex affection is love's most truthful dialect. It is in these quiet instances, when the body is satisfied and the mind is defenseless, that the heart speaks most clearly. A man who reveals himself to you here is not just sharing his bed, he is sharing his internal world. And that, according to Jung, is the surest indication that his feelings run far deeper than desire. It is a recognition between souls. Number 4. Synchronized movements and unconscious mirroring. In the unspoken dialect of lovers, the most meaningful truths are conveyed not with words, but through the subconscious choreography of bodies moving in seamless harmony. Carl Jung's idea of the collective unconscious, that profound well of primal memory common to all people, helps clarify why two individuals deeply in love frequently slip into spontaneous synchronization. When his breathing slows to align with yours, when your limbs intertwine without conscious thought, when a simple touch seems to convey more than entire paragraphs could. These are not mere coincidences, but biological poetry. They are proof that your bond has shifted beyond conscious intent and into the domain of instinct, where the body's ancient wisdom takes precedence over the mind's calculated actions. Jung proposed that this phenomenon arises from what he called participation mystique, a primordial condition of emotional unity, where the lines between individuals momentarily blur. In everyday life, we maintain strict control over our physicality, but love has a way of breaking down these barriers. When a man is emotionally surrendered, his nervous system starts to align with yours in what science now terms limbic synchrony. His heartbeat might subtly attune to yours. His movements may reflect yours, like reflections across an unseen bridge between your souls. This is not mimicry, it is communion. The body's method of stating what the conscious mind may be too cautious to say. We are no longer separate. The importance of this synchronization is especially clear during moments of profound quiet. Take note of how, when lying together in peaceful intimacy, you might both change positions at the same time or sigh in the same cadence. These tiny moments show that your connection functions on a plane far deeper than social exchange. It is a biological dance encoded in our very DNA. Jung would assert that this represents the archetype of the divine couple materializing in the present moment, that timeless symbol of completeness found in myths worldwide. Your bodies are, quite literally, remembering what your minds might have forgotten. That love, in its highest expression, is a restoration of unity. Contrast this with the rigid, self-aware movements of casual flings, where each person stays keenly conscious of their separateness. Lacking emotional investment, the body remains on guard. Actions stay deliberate, and genuine synchronization is rare. But when love is present, the need for this watchfulness dissolves. His hand finds the small of your back, precisely when you require support. Your head fits into the crook of his shoulder, as though the space were designed for you. This effortless alignment is the physical expression of what Jung called enantiodromia, the inclination of opposites to gravitate toward their counterpart, thereby establishing balance. What makes these subconscious movements so deeply intimate is their absolute authenticity. Unlike spoken words, which can be manipulated or managed, the body's language of love is impossible to fake. When his body moves in silent unison with yours, it is the purest articulation of his psyche's acknowledgement. You are not an other, but an extension, not an object, but home. In these unspoken moments, Jung's theories stop being abstract ideas and become living proof that in the alchemy of true connection, two separate individuals can briefly experience the divine unity from which we all originated. This is why synchronized movement continues to be love's most ancient and sacred dance, choreographed not by conscious choice, but by the ageless wisdom of the unconscious mind. Carl Jung, the trailblazing Swiss psychiatrist, viewed love as much more than a transient feeling or social convention. It was a significant psychological phenomenon, a meeting of the conscious and unconscious minds. Central to his theory is the idea of the anima and animus, the concealed feminine and masculine elements within every individual. According to Jung, each man possesses an inner feminine image, the anima, molded by his life experiences, expectations, and even cultural conditioning. When he falls profoundly in love, he is not merely attracted to a woman, he is meeting a reflection of his own soul. This is why the right partner feels not just thrilling, but familiar, as if she has been a part of him all along. The more intense the emotional connection, the more his anima aligns with her being, generating an almost mystical feeling of recognition. This is the reason some loves feel fated, as if they were written in the stars, because in a sense, they were written in his psyche long before they ever crossed paths. But this projection is merely the start. True intimacy, in Jung's perspective, demands something much more vulnerable, the readiness to shed the masks we present in our daily lives. Most men are taught to hide their sensitivity, to shield themselves from judgment. However, when a man is deeply in love, a change occurs. The unconscious mind, the immense hidden part of us that holds instincts, fears, and desires, starts to supersede his defenses. He does not simply want to be close, He needs it on a primal level. This is why you will see subtle, yet clear changes in his behavior when he is emotionally connected. He might share childhood stories without being prompted, or his body language could soften in ways he is unable to control. These are not deliberate decisions. They are involuntary surrenders to the depth of his bond. Jung also proposed that the unconscious communicates most clearly during moments of intimacy, not only through words, but also through symbols, feelings, and instinctive behaviors. Consider how lovers sync their breathing, or how a man's touch can become almost worshipful when his emotions are fully invested. These are not simply romantic gestures. They are expressions of the unconscious mind, weaving two individuals into one. In Jungian terms, love is alchemy. It transmutes the common metal of physical desire into the gold of spiritual connection. And when a man is truly in love, his unconscious will reveal itself in the most beautiful ways. So, how does this hidden psychology manifest in the bedroom? The solution is found in 4 unmistakable behaviors, acts so intimate and revealing that they bypass the conscious mind completely. These are not tricks or practice techniques. They are the raw, unrefined language of a man's heart. Now, let's explore the 4 intimate behaviors that expose his true feelings. These 4 unconscious behaviors, deep eye contact, selfless giving, post-sex vulnerability, and synchronized movement, constitute the silent language of a man's devotion. Carl Jung's wisdom serves as a reminder that love is never just an emotion. It is an embodied reality, written in the unguarded moments shared between 2 people. If your partner exhibits these behaviors, you are not just sharing a physical connection. You are sharing a psychological and spiritual bond that goes beyond the ordinary. So now the question is for you. Does your partner display these signs of deep love? Have you observed other unconscious actions that reveal his genuine feelings? Share your experiences in the comments below. We would be delighted to hear your stories and insights. If this exploration of love through Jung's perspective resonated with you, be sure to like and subscribe for more psychology-driven wisdom on relationships. Want to explore further? Let us know if you would like our next video to be about uncovering Jung's red flags in relationships, the hidden psychological warnings that indicate when a connection might be unhealthy or unfulfilling. Until then, remember that the body never lies about love. Pay close attention to what is whispered beneath the words, and you will always know your true standing.